Today I want to change pace a little from my usual content. My last video was about Dark Souls, one of the toughest and most stressful role-playing games that you can play, and after that experience, I felt I needed a break from high-stakes games. Instead of gothic castles and aggressive enemies, I wanted rural landscapes and non-combat focused gameplay. And that's where this list of 10 cozy games came from. These are the sort of RPGs that you can play to help you relax and unwind. The perfect sort of games to chill with after a hard day's work, or whenever you want a bit of calmness in your life. The first game on the list is Cassette Beasts. This style-heavy RPG has you playing as the new arrival on a mysterious island, one filled with curious monsters. But despite all those monsters, it's actually quite a relaxing and cute game most of the time. As the name would suggest, music is a big part of the experience, and the primary mechanic is recording the local monsters with your cassette tapes, so that you can change into them during combat. It's a very Pokemon sort of style of capturing creatures to help fight for you, and much like with Pokemon, these beasts will evolve with experience. A large part of the game is recording and evolving these beasts in order to uncover all the different ones living on the island. Pretty much every single beast name is also a pun, so enjoyers of painful comedy will have a great time here. While the primary bonus of recording these creatures is to change into them during battles, you will also sometimes gain special abilities when recording a new monster. Dashing, gliding and swimming are all powers you will unlock as you play, and each one helps you to explore more of the land. Travel through the world, encounter new people, challenge ranger captains, and vanquish the most evil enemy of them all, landowners. The ultimate cozy part of this game is the cafe, so I want to give it special acknowledgement here. This is the area in which you can rest and speak with the followers you find on your travels, and coming back here always feels like a treat rather than a hassle. A comforting place to relax and just listen to the music really helps to set the mood for this whole experience. The second game on the list is Garden Story. If the previous entry wasn't cute enough for you, this one should make up for that. You play as a grape named Concord, who will travel through the garden and across the entire grove, on a journey to help the place bloom with beauty. While combat is a large element of the gameplay, weapons are used just as often to solve puzzles as they are for fighting, and you'll be spending plenty of your time just helping out the residents of your town. Each day when you wake up, there will be new requests on the local bulletin board. Complete these and you will not only help out the town, but also progress the story and improve the different resources available to you. The entire garden will be needing your help, not only with fighting back the rot, but also with tasks in their day-to-day lives, meaning there's plenty to be getting on with in this game. I'd say that the visuals speak far more for the vibe of things than I possibly can, so if you like the look of this game, do check it out. If you're after something with more of a realistic art style, then might I recommend Medieval Dynasty. This game is very much a hybrid of a survival game and an RPG, combining the best of both genres. In it you play as the newcomer to a medieval village, but instead of residing within the village itself, your first task will instead be to build up your own home outside of the village walls. From there you build up further, making your own town and community in this land. On the RPG side of things, you will be talking to other villagers and helping them with their problems. Doing so will not only grant you the standard array of rewards that you typically expect, but also increase your relationship with those you help. By getting closer to others, you can eventually start a family, and maybe even have a child of your own, and due to the timescale of the game, once that child grows up, you can end up switching to play as them. The Dynasty element of this game is just as true as the medieval part, meaning you can just keep on playing and building up your own settlement in a time frame that feels realistic. Over the years, you will go from just a stranger that arrived one day, onto the family that built everything up and can be relied upon by all others. Next up on the list is Costume Quest. In this game you play as a group of kids out trick-or-treating on Halloween. When monsters appear and grab one of their own, the children must gather up different costumes in order to fight against these monsters in turn-based combat. While you do start out in a relatively normal-looking neighbourhood, this is a game made by the same people who created Psychonauts, so expect the environments to get a little weird and wild as you progress. The different outfits you wear will change your abilities, so searching for new costumes is the most important part of the gameplay experience. One element I really do enjoy are the transformation scenes, where your character changes from just a kid in a costume into a mighty knight or magnificent unicorn. This is also quite a short game, so if the length of the previous entry was somewhat daunting, this one may be a little more your speed. My Time at Portia is next up, and this is one of my favourite cozy RPGs. In it you play as the child of a famous builder, who has inherited their father's workshop. With this you will seek to become the best builder that Portia has ever seen. As such, the primary focus of the game is based around building. Not only will you build up your own workshop in a manner of different ways, but you'll also be fulfilling requests for the other townsfolk. Some of these will be to earn a little money and boost your relationship with people, but others will be quest important ones that improve the town itself. While initially the area around Portia will seem quite limited, over time you will help the area to both thrive and expand, enriching the lives of everyone there. While orders do come with time limits on how many days you have to complete them, this is a game I'd very much recommend just taking your time with. There's no real lost state, so you can approach the game at your own pace. Get to know the people around town, decorate your workshop to your own tastes, and experience the different events that happen each year. Out of all the games on this list, this is the one that I've put the most hours into, as it is such a warm and pleasant world to immerse yourself in, but also one that gives you constant purpose. I'd be more than happy to go back and play this game again, as I truly enjoyed my time at Portia. For our next entry, we're going very meta. Knights of Pen and Paper is a game where you play as a group of players, who themselves are playing a tabletop RPG. Pick your players, pick what class of character they'll play as, and then battle your way through encounters and quests. The more rewards you gain, the more improvements you can purchase for the room your characters are playing in. While this game may be a little lighter on the narrative and graphic side of things, it's the ideal thing to play if you fancy something a little D&D-like but without the pressure of interacting with others or having to actually worry too much about your choices. Instead, you can play a little more casually and get a fun little facsimile of the experience. This game does also have a couple of sequels to it, so if the visuals of the first put you off or you want a slight change in mechanics, then checking those out will be a good move to make. If you want something that deviates a little away from your standard high fantasy setting, may I instead recommend Chained Echoes. This is a pixel art turn-based RPG, which blends together fantasy and sci-fi into a world which truly stands apart. I absolutely adore this game, to the point where I wasn't entirely certain if I could even class it as a cozy game or not, but it made it on the list purely because of how much I love it. While it does explore some darker themes and combat is more of a focus than many of the other games on this list, it's also a game which relies heavily on exploration, character development, and helping others. The story certainly is dark in many places, but the cute pixel elements can often help to soften the blow a little, making it more approachable than many other games which take on saddening storylines. Combat is going to be a focus for advancing the plot, but due to the turn-based nature, it's far more about playing smart than it is relying on high-stress decision-making. Take your time to learn new moves, seek out better equipment, and understand what combination of characters work best with each other, and this will become a truly rewarding experience. If turn-based combat isn't so much your thing, but you'd still like a cozy game that has a bit of a combat focus, then Anuchard might be the game on this list for you. You play as the prophesized Bell Wielder, a person able to wield this poorly named but legendary artifact. It serves not only as your weapon, but also as guide on the journey you will undertake, as the voices inside the bell will teach you what you need to do to save your village. The village in question is one you will get to explore as you play, not only learning what life is like for the people there, but also about the legends and arcane history that surround the place. While combat is an important factor in this game, a lot of your travels will revolve around solving puzzles in order to progress. Those puzzles are mostly solved in the same way that combat encounters are, by smacking things with your massive bell. I'll be honest, this is quite a tricky game to talk about at points, but I think you get an overall idea of it. Now on to a game which plays completely different. In Loop Hero, you don't really control your character. They run around the path, encountering enemies on the way and fighting them without any needed input from the player. What you do is choose the equipment your character will have, shape the world of the loop by placing cards, and choose different skills whenever you level up. This game is a roguelike as well as an RPG, meaning that each time you go for a loop, you can expect to earn resources and get a little bit stronger. Once you head back to your village, you can then start expanding and upgrading that area, in order to get additional boosts and become stronger once again. I think this is probably the most addictive of all the games on this list. There's something real satisfying whenever you make it round another loop, level up, or defeat one of the bosses. While this is a game that skews a little darker and technically does have a lot of combat, the fact that you don't actually have to control the character yourself does help to alleviate from any stress that would normally come from that situation. Instead, you can just sit back, see how things turn out, and even if you fail, it's a roguelike, so you can just come back and try again. Finally, we have When the Iron's Hot. In this game, you play as an aspiring blacksmith, seeking to become the greatest in the land. While the previous game was the most combat-packed, this one is pretty much combat-free. You won't be wielding weapons, instead you'll be making them. Much like with my time at Portia, a large part of this game is fulfilling orders for the people you meet. Unlike that game though, the actual process of creating these items is a lot more hands-on. Smelting ore, shaping the items and sharpening metals all have minigames attached to them. While these minigames could provide a little stress to the player, there's no real fail state, which does help to alleviate this. Even if you bungle the shaping of the metal or the smelting of the ore, you'll still get something out of it. The quality might just be a little worse, so you won't get the maximum rewards. The driving force behind this game is the exploration. While you can just stay in the area of the initial village, by crafting new items you'll be able to upgrade your equipment, gain a cart, and move further afield. Finding new locations and uncovering mysteries in this new world help to keep things interesting, and provide a narrative for you on your journey to become the best blacksmith the land has ever seen. And that was my selection of 10 cozy role-playing games for all of you to enjoy. Feel free to leave even more recommendations in the comments below, and give the video a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe for more RPG videos, and as always, thanks for watching. Sarge out.